Welcome once again to another Yali Creatives Beyond Coffee series. And my name is Calvin Mutize from Zimbabwe. Today I am with the lovely lady Siza Mafiri Sizakele Mukwendini. Wow, so today one of the things that we want to talk about is we want to talk to Siza. She's okay, no, why am I talking about you? Tell us, what do you do?
Okay, my name is Siza Mukwendini, like you said, affectionately known as Siza Mafiri. I'm a film producer, mainly documentaries.
Documentary filmmaking?
Yes, but now I'm transitioning into television content production,
okay,
which is something I really enjoy and just exploring.
Which have started the new season, which I'm excited about, the Agri Tour Bus.
Yes, the Agri Tour Bus. So I've been a filmmaker, in fact I've been involved in the film industry since 2006.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yes.
It's about 10 years.
It's about 10 years,
Okay.
so I've grown under the likes of Nakai Matema, back then when I actually started off at the Zimbabwe International Film Festival.
Okay.
Those are some of the women that actually groomed me. You talk of Rumika Tieza, you talk of Dorothy Mek, who's a profound documentary filmmaker in Zimbabwe, and I actually learned a lot under her wings.
Okay.
Until eventually I then launched out on my own in 2013.
Wow, so you worked or supervised for over 7 years.
Yes, because I didn't go to film school here.
Okay.
I did on the job training. So I had to actually be under a lot of people, and I had to be mentored and groomed by a lot of people. Also, just watch closely what they were doing, how they were doing it, and just really want to be like them one day.
We all want to be like them, you know.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. You have been a filmmaker for 10 years.
10 years.
7 of them you were understudying someone, following, shadowing,
Yes.
carrying equipment, cameras, lights, and everything.
Yes.
Just doing basically everything else.
Yes, being a production assistant, being a production manager, learning everything through the ropes, editing, even Brighton Tazama taught me to edit once, and I think I'm pretty good at it.
No, you're pretty good at it, because I've seen your work and I've seen your documentary. By the way, she does documentaries for NGOs. You talk about sustainability,
Agriculture, especially, youth development, community development.
and she's shy about it. But one of the things that brought you here, one of the reasons why we're doing this Beyond the Coffee series, is also talking about the experiences that we've had and where we have been and what we are now learning and what we have learned. And one of the things that we were talking about before we started shooting was, the experience that you had when you went on the Mandela Ocean Fellowship.
Yes. Well, the Mandela Ocean Fellowship was actually an eye-opener for me. I was placed in New Orleans at Tulane University.
Oh, wow.
As a civic leader. I didn't go under business and enterprise.
That's why you became a Yali creative, because you were under civil leadership, but you were creative at heart.
Yes.
So you're not able to go into the business track like I was under the civil track, but I'm creative at heart. So continue.
So because I went right under the civic track, because I really wanted to see how much of an impact TV and film has on fostering development of the people.
Okay.
So when I was in New Orleans, I was placed with this organization called 2 Cent TV, and what they do is because New Orleans is actually the highest rates of crime in the world.
Oh, wow.
And they were now using TV to try and transform young people to think differently. So they were doing their films, they talk about crime in the city, they talk about abortion, they talk about any issues that young people were grappling with, even how young people were talking about their memories of the Katrina catastrophe that happened to them, because it deeply affected them as well. And now they were using TV to sort of try and get young people to talk about it as a healing tool and things like that. So, but one amazing thing that I learned is I also had the chance of meeting very prolific filmmakers there, because New Orleans is the second city after California that is now is also the highest rates of TV film productions in the United States. So I had a chance of actually meeting with quite a few prolific filmmakers there. And what I realized was, oh my God, these guys actually have the same equipment that I had. And here I am, I thought, well, when you're going
to America,
the United States,
everything.
wow, I was going to see like the most amazing technologies, like the stuff that you see on James Bond. That's what I was expecting to see.
Yeah.
And here I am. I actually almost left my camera back here home, because I thought, this Canon DSLR, they'll look at me like, so you call yourself a filmmaker?
And you're like, DSLR,
But when I got there, they were making films with exactly the same camera as I had.
Same camera.
So it really changed the way I thought. I was quite misinformed about film and film production, and I realized that, for the past couple of years I've been lying to myself. I actually had it. So that then influenced even how then I then came back and sat down with a few friends of mine and I said, guys, we just have to start doing it. We just have to start making content now, because what we do have is everything.
Which some of the people in the States, some of the production that we see, it's pretty much what the same equipment we have, is the same equipment that they are using, exactly. And it's not different.
It's not different at all. And they were making films, and they were making music videos, they were making a lot of things.
With DSLRs, iPhones, and...
iPhones especially, they're like, wow, you made this on an iPhone? And the message is cutting across, it's fostering development, and it's because development is something on my heart. So because me, I really love agriculture, and I've also learned to try and leverage on innovative technology to talk about development. And agriculture is my thing, So
you're not a farmer.
I'm not a farmer, but I know as much as a farmer. I've put in a lot of research, a lot of time. About 4 years now, I've been working closely with the farmers, following young farmers in Zimbabwe, going wherever they go.
Filming them, that's what
filming them, documenting their stories, finding out what makes them tick, what do they want, how do they need someone like me who's in media to actually push their story forward.
That's most important.
Yeah.
That each and every single one of the individuals has a story around them, behind them, that they have, but it's never been told.
It's never been told. And also, if we were to encourage our young people to view agriculture as a solution to curbing high rates of youth unemployment, I thought that it's high time we actually used media that our young people were interested in, and that's TV. Everyone loves TV, and everyone loves radio, social media. So how do we leverage on that to ensure that our young people begin to be interested in actually creating that employment for themselves?
That's important.
Yeah, see why I told you that I'm a civic leader?
you need both elements. But I think you've now started. I think this is where the whole story starts for today. That we have media, and then we have, they say 60% of Africa is under the age of 45.
Oh yes.
So which means that we have capacity to reach out to,
it's actually not 60, it's actually 76%.
76% of Africa is beyond the age of 45.
Yes.
So that we're talking about 750 million people in Africa who are under the ages of 45.
Yes.
So which means that us as creators, whether you're a cameraman, whether you're a designer, whether you're a filmmaker, whether you're a book writer, a publisher, website, whatever designer you are, we have an opportunity to create content that's appealing to those very same people, to teach people that agriculture is actually a very viable business.
Yes, and it cannot just be agriculture, hey. We are talking about health, we are talking about even governance, a lot of other things that we can actually leverage into. But we have to find a way of using media to talk about the social pertinent issues. Yeah.
And so it takes us now to the point, like, what's stopping you now from achieving what you need to achieve? Because we meet a lot of people. As you've been documenting films for the last 10 years, going on the Mandalorian Fellowship, and all those things, you meet a lot of people. And I've got this script idea, I've got this concept, I've got this movie that I want to produce. Yeah. And then so what do you have? No, I've got this movie, I've got this idea. So what else do you have?
Well, I'll actually call those creative excuses.
Creative excuses.
For a very long time I had those. I had creative excuses whereby I would say, it's the economy. We can't make films. Things are so hard right now. I could blame, no, I don't have equipment. And yet I had a DSLR. But I don't know what equipment I was looking for really. Oh no, we don't have funding. But hey, I just finished filming my pilot episode and we didn't have much funding. It's actually money that I pulled from friends. And the smallest seed funding I could think of that came from Motor Republic and UNDP, and we managed to do it.
and I love the episode actually. But it's the creative excuses. Creatives always have excuses.
Creatives always have excuses because you could ask someone, okay, so you're saying that they will say, no, I've got an idea for this, a brilliant idea, but you ask them, okay, so where's your script? They don't even have a
They don't have a script, but it's in their head. They've never written it down.
Where's the plan where you're saying this is what I want to do? I want to do this. There's no plan anyway. So how then do you expect to proceed from that step to the next? I think young creators should just go out there and do it. Okay.
Just go out, just do something. But like look at Caesar. She's worked in the film industry for the last 10 years. 7 of them she was understudying someone. She was working under someone. What stops us? She doesn't have a film degree. But she's producing some of the most prolific films in Zimbabwe and documentaries in Zimbabwe. But at the end of the day, she's a creative at heart. That's where she started from. She doesn't have everything.
Yeah, I think it's about what you see. I saw myself. I remember one year, like asking me, so what do you want to do now that you've had the feel of what the film industry is about? You can be a camera person, you can do makeup, you can do. And I said, well, I want to be a producer like you. And she said, you'll never be a producer. I said, yeah, I want to be a producer like you. And here I am. Because I saw that success and I knew that determination would get to me.
But you had to work at it. It's not like you just suddenly just became the best, one of the best women filmmakers in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
You took time, but you had to study, and you also had to stuff away
I had to have a plan.
The excuses as well.
I had to have a plan. I had to invest in my own resources. People look at me and they say, but you've worked with so many organizations, you don't even drive, you don't have a car.
That's true. That's a big one.
That's what I tell people. Do you know that I've actually invested a lot of my resources into what I believe in?
What you believe in.
I believe in filmmaking. I believe that I've got it. I can be the next best woman film producer to come out of Zimbabwe. And that means I have to invest in that.
So I think that's a key thing. What are you investing in your product?
Yeah.
Not the question, but the big point is this. What resources are you investing in your own product?
Yeah.
So many times we're waiting for someone to come from somewhere to give you funding. We are spending our time online looking for funding. But the question is, you drive a car, you have a big house, you have basically everything, but you're looking for someone to invest in a product that you're not willing to invest in yourself. You have a very big computer that you don't even use.
It always comes back to how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? I know people, who started off businesses and they had to sell their TV or they had to sell, even the bed that they were sleeping,
their houses,
so that they would have start-up capital to actually invest in their dreams. So I think if you are not at that point yet of where you're still sitting back and looking for funding, and you've been doing that for the past 3 years, then I'm sorry to tell you that you will be doing that for the next 7 years. Okay, until you decide to actually invest in yourself, to think how much do I want this to cost me? What can I sell? Where can I look for funding? Where can I work to actually invest in this very same project that I want to do? Yeah. Because I think that's important. I will never invest in a product that the owner doesn't even believe in. Yeah. I'll never invest in a product that because when you actually go in there looking for funding, I've been looking for funding for my TV reality series. They will ask you blatantly, like, oh, so what have you invested in it? Yes, you've got a good idea. Yes, you've got the camera, you've got the equipment. Yeah, but what are you investing in it? And they want to know that then am I also putting down $1,000? Am I also putting down $7,000? Am I also putting down, apart from just the idea itself? Because and I'll also just share this formula just to conclude. Success is always plan plus resources times execution. Success is plan. You need a plan. You need a plan. What's your plan? And your brand. Yeah. That is it. Exactly. Plan plus resources. What are you willing to put in it? Your time can be a resource. Not just time, even that book that you write. Even the time that you spend understanding someone. Exactly. That's a resource. Because I'm telling you that I spent time understanding women filmmakers. Yes. And not only that, and then 4 years after that, I spent understanding young farmers because I wanted to understand what makes young farmers tick. If I'm going out there and I'm saying that agriculture is the future, or I'm saying that we can actually create jobs for ourselves in this country where there are high rates of youth unemployment, and agriculture as a solution. What have I seen?
What have I invested
What
into
have
it?
I invested into it? You see. So time is a huge investment that people don't have, and they don't want to. You see those films that they make, and you wonder, so where did they get all this information about this rare disease?
Yeah, that's true.
They've spent time.
Just researching and knowing what the story, real
You
story
need
is.
to know what your
behind.
subject is. So it's very important. And it's always times execution. So success equals to plan plus resources times execution, meaning that you need a lot of execution.
So which means that they say that you need 10,000 hours for you to become a professional in anything. So the truth of the matter is that you might have started the best product ever.
Yeah.
I look at my work, I look at the first post I did, my first blog. Horrible. When I look at it now, it's horrible.
And some of the first films I did, like when I actually filmed by myself and edited, and I'm so embarrassed to show people to say I actually did this.
But you don't pull them down.
No, I
because that's where you started,
Yeah.
and you've gotten better. So sometimes we are waiting until we have the great idea. Sometimes we wait until we have the best equipment. But start with what you have
start with what you have.
and build with what you have.
Exactly.
Let's not have excuses, Africa.
No more excuses, Africa. As long as we've got the creative mind is something that is amazing.
Amazing, that's
Where
true.
it can take us to is levels amazing, but only if we allow it to. Okay, so let's not stand
Let's
in
not
our
stand.
own ways.
Let's not allow angel hair women to tell African stories in their way. It's one story that this week we have been debating about in Yali Village. Is this whole Linton Lies, that lady who wrote a story about Africa, about rebels in Zambia. Why wait for someone from America or
And she
England?
didn't wait, because she just wrote what she thought and blasted it on social media. And here we are waiting to get the perfect story. Listen, we've got too many perfect stories.
Too many perfect
Too
stories.
many. I've heard of too many perfect stories. Young women, young men. I
Concepts,
come across.
ideas, books, articles, films, just basic concepts that we, each and every single one of you are sitting on right now,
Yeah.
that we need you to actually start, get out of the chair and go into it. And let's create African stories
Yeah.
that
No more creative excuses.
no more excuses, no more looking for funding, no more I don't have the time, no more lack of resources. Let's use what we have to get what we do not have. So for me, Calvin Mutize, and
So I'm feeling.
we'll see you next time on Beyond the Coffee series.